Hey, what's up, everyone? Alright, so, alright, give me a moment. Trying to make sure. Not sure how I can make this audio much louder, but I think we have enough. Alright, so, judging by the title, yes, I'm playing UFC 4, and, so this is a little bit of a different video. This is in regards to me just wanting to talk about the Raja Jackson situation. And, uh, a little thing about me, I do like mixed martial arts, wrestling, and stuff like that. Like, combat sports in general. Um, boxing and taekwondo and Muay Thai and all that. I like it. I watch different organizations. I like watching independent, shows and stuff like that on YouTube and all this other stuff. You know. Alright, so pretty much, I do want to say thank you all for tuning in. So this is a little bit different. This video is going to be alluding to an idea of mine of wanting to do podcasting, but I kind of want to do a spin right now because I don't have the video on me or anything like that. So I would rather do like gameplay for the meantime. So let's see, what are we gonna do? Well, I'm not gonna do career. I'm just gonna fight around and just talk about this situation. But also, I do want to preface something that, oh, hey, what's up? Yeah, I remember you. It's just, I'm still thinking about it, so just give me a moment on that. Because I have other things going around in my life, so I don't know if I'm, trying to, you know, spend some money on, like, that stuff. But I'll keep you posted. Alright, so this video is gonna be uploaded to YouTube, so that's why I'm like talking in such a weird way. I am responding to someone on chat because this video is being streamed from Twitch, but eventually it's gonna be uploaded to YouTube. So let's see what we're gonna do. So let me just choose a mode. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, the situation that Raja Jackson is in is very terrible on all like fronts. From an MMA fighters, going into a wrestling event and then doing all what he did. And it's, right now the talk of the town. If you're like, what's called involved, I guess, or have like a genuine interest in combat sports. So this is currently being talked about. Whether you're in just, into wrestling or mixed martial arts or anything else. But yeah, the issue's kind of worldwide in a way. Alright, so I think we should do stand and bang. Alright. But also, like I said, this video is pretty much alluding to a podcast that I kind of want to do eventually with a friend of mine. So I don't know if we should just like do gameplay while we're talking, or a video of us just straight up talking. I don't know. I'm gonna see how this goes. I'm just gonna do what what I want. So can I switch this person? Yeah, okay. The AI is gonna go against me. I'm gonna do my created fighter. Can I do this guy on heavyweight? I have different characters here. So in a weird way, if you want to know what I kind of look like, this person right here that I created is kind of close to what I look like, which is funny. I do have long hair. I do have a beard. I have like what's it called, a handlebar mustache. You know, and I am kind of big bodied right now, but I will say this: I was, and I kind of stopped, but I was doing just training a bit of mixed martial arts, but mainly striking. But I was involved in grappling, basically jujitsu. I was doing a lot of wrestling at this place called 10th Planet, and yeah, they were pretty cool. Everyone was really chill there. Sparring was really fun. But so yeah, so that's what takes me. This is what's how do I say it? I'm trying to think of the words right now. I'm not really thinking. With the eraser. So I want to give a bit of context before we go into it. So training in a environment where it's like mixed martial arts, and it has like the styles of jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, boxing. Sometimes the Muay Thai is like Dutch style, different styles, right? So either way, in any form of martial arts, discipline. That's the biggest thing. That's self-control, restraint. That's something that you learn through time. And so the reason I'm saying this is gonna pretty much go into the Raja Jackson thing, but there were so many, independent variables that were involved in that, and so many things that led, like, so how do I put this? So yeah, mixed martial arts in general is self-control and stuff like that. But that's mainly the main focal point. Now, there's the competition aspect, or the aspect of you learning just for the hell of it, or just just in case of one day a situation were to come around and it gets dangerous. Let's do, for instance, Ngannou. Obviously, the UFC 4 is a little bit old, but and it's been a while since I played this, so. But I think it's a perfect time to play this, do this talk. But yeah, going back to the martial arts thing. So pretty much, when you're training, you're sparring, you start to have the idea and understanding that, oh shit, things can get really dangerous at any moment. And that's why when you're training with people, they pretty much, you're just sharpening up your tools and stuff. And even if you're getting ready for competition, hold on, I don't want to lower the audio. Okay, hold on, let's just lower this. Mainly the crowd, I think. Alright, so more like mixed martial arts, jiu-jitsu and boxing, Muay Thai, and all the other disciplines, taekwondo. It could be whatever, but as long as you're adding it within mixed martial arts, you're just, adding different styles together, that's just considered mixed martial arts in general at that point. So now, pro wrestling, you have people that do practice mixed martial arts or jiu-jitsu and all that stuff. So there is some level of martial arts involved, but in pro wrestling, it's more theatrical, it's more fixed in a way. You're doing storytelling, and it's kind of like theater kids fighting. You know what I mean? And well, the idea of it. But these are grown people doing it. But the idea of like telling a story. It's kind of like a soap opera, but you're fighting as well, but in the pro wrestling setting. So most of the time, yes, I will say injuries, they're real. Getting slammed, falling not in like the correct way. Um, sometimes you pull a muscle, you tear some part of your body because you didn't do something correctly, or the person that you're working with is not trying to do their best to defend you or save your life in a way. So basically, you're both at each other's hands. So pro wrestling is basically two people who have an idea of what they want to do. They come to an agreement sometimes, and they do wing a few things. They just go off script, or they just their methods, just like method acting in a way. So pretty much that's what pro wrestling is in a nutshell. Now, with that, but also one more thing, uh, I just want to say the difference in how fighters, react to one another. Mixed martial arts fighters are basically at each other's neck sometimes, and they kind of get outlandishly crazy with the words that you're saying and antagonizing the other fighter, and sometimes it could go to blows. You know what I mean? Like actual like close fists, like pro wrestling. Sometimes it could get like that, but it, it's again it's staged. Both people are in agreement. If it depends on the organization how they want to like book you and stuff, and they tell you do this character, do this movements and stuff like that. So that's more staged. So in a way, you kind of have to sell it. So basically, there's sometimes people who are jobbers, sometimes people who are just, are meant to like, push the other person, and you're just in that moment, kind of like just making somebody else look good. So sometimes that's what happens in wrestling. So again, stark difference from a mixed martial artist or just anybody in certain martial arts that there's that aggression sometimes. And I was talking about self-discipline. Unfortunately, self-discipline does not you know isn't present with mixed martial artists, and sometimes it's not present with pro wrestlers either. So sometimes things like that are present and they're evident. And let me just get this going. Let's just start fighting. Ooh, alright. Ah. Alright, so now with that being said, anything can happen. Things can get out of like, not go according to script or anything like that. So obviously, that's just one of those things. Oh, great. I'm defending with my face. Let me slip. Ooh. Thank God I slipped. Oh, damn it. Alright. Oh, I can't grab. Yeah. Okay. So pretty much now that we have that all kind of explained, and okay, maybe this is a little difficult. I'm not gonna lie, talking and just trying to like play the game as well. Damn it! All right, hold on. Let me just change something here as well. Let's just. I don't want to hear the crowd. I can still hear it. Alright, so now that I explained certain things as the best I can, let's get into that situation that just, is being talked about. So now let's go into Roger Jackson. So Roger Jackson, again, he is the son of Rampage Jackson, Quinn Rampage Jackson to be more exact. a legendary mixed martial artist. Of course, he was in Pride when it first started, and and he was just like he was brought up in an era where that sort of like fighting was kind of dangerous for sure. There were some illegal blows that were being given, like certain movements that are now illegal. But yeah, that was Quentin Rampage Jackson. So he's definitely a tough motherfucker, you know what I mean? But yeah, so there's a level of restraint sometimes, and now that he's retired, he turned into a streamer, and he has a son, Raja. One of his sons. I think he has 3 sons and 1 daughter. So the one son is Raja Jackson that we're gonna be talking about. Now he decided to go into the footsteps of his father. Now obviously mixed martial arts. In the amateur scene, I think he was like 4-0, so 4 wins, 0 losses. But now when he stepped into the professional bouts. So yeah, right now he's at I think it's 0-1, right? Yeah, 0-1. And so that's so far not that great. So once you're a professional, that's when it just eventually it's just experience, because you're going to get someone much more high level and people that have more to their arsenal when it comes to fighting, different styles. Alright, so let's just go again. So again, Raja, he's just there, training and trying to become like his own person, pretty much. Now Rampage, his way of parenting, obviously just is a little strange, but scolds his son from here to there, but he tries to make light of it and stuff like that. Now, watching the live streams with Rampage and his son Raja, I had the impression that Raja seems like a genuine dude. Like he seemed like a calmer version of his father. So that's why this situation is baffling. But then again, he is the son of Rampage, so I kind of had an idea that this could happen. But there's so many things that led up to that event we're going to get to very soon. But just, want to give you more and more context. But Raja Jackson, again, son of Rampage, right now is trying to get out of the shadow of his own father, He's not rich that he claims, because, his father is rich, that he explained in one live stream that he had. So I kind of was following him too, when he was streaming on Kick. Now, the father-son dynamic for both of these guys, it's funny, it's comical, they're going at each other, ribbing each other, and it's funny, you know what I mean? But, I think at one point, it was said that Quentin Rampage Jackson did put his son in the hospital because of one event. He didn't go into much detail, but he was alluding that it led to something that, his son, I guess, was challenging him in a way, and that sucked. I lost. Now, with that being said, Rampage, they still have a good dynamic, which, again, throughout the videos, the live streams and stuff that they had, it just seemed like Raja, he was just whatever, he was just going with it, and he just seemed calm. Like that's what I thought, Then again, things change in a person. So Raja's now like, with his dad, pretty much just like there's not animosity or anything. They just, how they are. They just joke around with each other too. And Rampage is just a funny dude. Like he has like the funniest, way of like describing certain things and the way he carries himself. So I feel like, yeah, definitely Rampage was meant to be a streamer. You know, even though at his age, he's still doing antics, which is funny, but at the same time, it's like, you know. But the parenting aspect being shown to everybody is something that I don't think should be, shown, and the way he treats Raja, and it was also preference that, well, I think Rampage did mention that he basically he knew the direction that his children were gonna take. So two of his children are from a Japanese woman, right? So both of them academically bright, they're gonna go to college. So he saved up money for them. Now Raja and his other brother, not so bright. Basically, Rampage already kind of knew that they weren't gonna go to college. So basically, he saved up money for them just in case if they were ever to go to jail. And that that kind of already sets up something that's like, you're already kind of like writing your own son off, and you already have an idea that your son's not going to be, he's going to be in some legal issues. So it's kind of like alluding to what's to come, which happened, something very terrible. So basically, foreshadowed his own son's, situation. Now, again, Raja does not come across as a petulant person. From what I've seen. Now, oh, come on. Nope, that did not work. Oh. Now, with that being said, so Raja, again, he came off as someone pretty, so like it felt like he had some self-control, and he seemed like he was pretty okay, like he wasn't gonna be his father, you know what I mean? But his father like ridiculed him and through streams and stuff, made fun of him. I thought he was taking it to the chin, you know what I mean? Like I thought he was just like, all right, he was just going with the punches and stuff. Oh damn. And so with that being said, again, I'm just surprised with like the situation coming to fruition and stuff like that, and Rampage kind of foreshadowing something like something very, very difficult, something very wrong would come from Raja. With that being said, I explained that part of what Raja, his upbringing in a way, from what we are seeing, what is being displayed throughout time. Alright, you know what? Let's go. Oh, damn. And I'm went to sleep. But, okay, so now that we explained kind of like Raja's background in a way, now let's go on to the situation. Now the situation's basically Raja went to an event at this one wrestling academy, I think it was called Knox Wrestling or something like that, that's run by Rikishi, who is a WWE Hall of Famer, legend, wrestler, and he has his own academy that's kind of associated with the WWE. There's like a program that they have that is, it kind of like labels that organization as a developmental battleground in a way to I guess for fighters to like get known, get some exposure, or get scouted by WWE. Be like, all right, let's bring this person in type of ordeal. that Rikishi has with that school. Now, let's change this. So that's where this whole took place. Now, the person that was also involved, there's many people involved, but the main person that's involved is Psycho Stu. Psycho Stu is a wrestler. Now, he's a professional wrestler, so he's not like a Greco-Roman wrestler from what I know, but he is a veteran. So a veteran that was kind of battling PTSD, but also didn't know how to introduce himself back into society. So wrestling became an outlet, became something that he just, you know, gravitated towards to help him cope with, like, coming back from, you know, wherever he was sent, like wherever parts, like, for war and whatever, doing his military service. And my hat's off to him. But he found wrestling, and wrestling again is supposed to be fun. You know what I mean? It's not supposed to be like not like mixed martial arts where you gotta like definitely put the person unconscious or submit them to the point that you could break their legs or arms or whatever, or just put them to sleep for good, which is not the preference, but not for good either. But and so Psycho Stu, that's pretty much where he landed. He was doing wrestling, and it is believed that he's been there since Rikishi opened up that academy. Now, with that being said, so we got two different people from two different backgrounds, right? We have a veteran turned wrestler, professional wrestler, and then we have Raja Jackson, the son of Rampage Jackson, also an MMA fighter. Now, we're gonna go to the moment where everything just went to hell, basically. So Raja is friends with some guy named AJ. I don't know much about him, but he's also a wrestler. I think he also trains with Raja, I believe. So he invites him over and tells him, "Hey, let's go to I guess to the academy where they're having a show, that Knox Academy." Right, so it's like an independent wrestling scene where where they just doing a wrestling match throughout that whole entire day. So Raja goes there with his coach as well. His coach is there. Now they meet up with AJ. They go in. He takes them backstage. He starts meeting the wrestlers that are there. Introducing himself. So far, so good, right? And then all of a sudden, let me just choose. What am I gonna choose? Let's go with Leon. So now he decides to Raja in this case, just introduce himself and stuff like that. And it seems like everything is going good. So throughout that stream, it looks like everything's fine so far. Introducing himself, and then he meets Psycho Stu. Now, Psycho Stu, what he pretty much claims at first is a little different from what is how he introduced himself. So pretty much he goes next to Raja, tells him, "Yeah, you gotta worry about Psycho Stu," and he's like, Raja then is like, "Who's Psycho Stu?" Cool. And then at that point, Psycho Stu, he's like, "Oh, you don't know what a Psycho Stew is?" and then hits him over the head with a prop beer can. Now, when I saw that, I was like, "Huh." I'm pretty sure that this has to be staged, right? You know, maybe Raja likes pro wrestling. I don't know. So maybe he's, going with it. But it's not what it seems. And that's not what happened. Raja didn't sell it. He was supposed to sell it, but I guess he didn't know the memo, and he's not in that world. So being hit with a beer can, that's definitely a sign of disrespect for sure. That's probably how he felt. So then he stood his ground, and then it looked like he was about to go off. But then AJ kind of steps in and says, "Hey, he's not working. He's not one of us," type of ordeal. And now the other wrestlers that are there, I think so. One of them is the co-owner or related to Rikishi. I can't remember his name. Oh, stop! Come on. He needs to get a victory here. Keep kicking. There you go. Eat that. Oh. One more. Alright. I think I got him away from me for a little bit. I'll chop his legs real quick. Now, as that situation is brewing, now people are getting in between them and trying to de-escalate the situation. Now that that's happening, Raja's already pissed. He is definitely serious, not happy with the situation. Now, they're trying to explain to Psycho Stew that, yeah, he's not a wrestler there. He should not have done that. Now, the guy that I think is the co-owner or related to Rikishi is, trying to calm him down, trying to calm Raja down, and he's like telling him he's sorry. He didn't know that was gonna happen. He apologized many times on behalf of Psycho Stew. Then eventually Psycho Stew comes around and he apologized. And he's like really sorry. He's adamant about it. Like he's really sorry. And then they're under the preference of like they start to create this understanding supposedly that like, all right, now that this happened, he should be part of this now. They want to involve Rampage Jackson's son Raja, so they want to involve Raja here, and they're like, all right, you can get your lick back, you can get a couple blows or whatever, you can fuck him up, so to speak, which he literally does say that, which is not good to say to an actual MMA fighter, because they're gonna take it too hard and they might go, all out. Oh. So he agrees, and then eventually he goes to Psycho Stew and he's like, alright, I thought it was gonna be bygones be bygones, but somehow I kinda knew, alright, maybe this is a bad idea. But Raja goes to Psycho Stew and then he's like, yeah, my bad. All this, they finally shake hands, it's all good. And Psycho Stew just tells him, oh, he saw the camera and he was just like, and he thought he was a worker, so he was trying to, every day they're working type ordeal, right? So now, with that being said, the other guy comes around, AJ, and he's like, damn, now you involved Rampage himself, he's gonna come down there and, cause some problems. They didn't want any problems, they wanted to de-escalate it. So, in the end, they did say, again, Raja's gonna, get his slick back, he's gonna get his receipt. So, now that that's, kind of already, like, planned, the night goes on, and then there's one part where eventually AJ goes to Raja, and then he tells him, yeah, you just give him his receipt. So basically you're gonna like, hit him back, a receipt, if anyone's trying to like figure out what that is, a receipt basically in professional wrestling is like when someone stiff armed you or someone like did something a little, aggressive in a way, in a sense, then yeah, you could get your revenge, but like not like go overboard, but you give them like a good lick, a good hit, and just be like, all right, so just know that next time it's gonna get real type ordeal. So that's what professional wrestling's receipt is. So basically, you get your lick back and it's over. You receive something and you just like return it back. That's actually pretty good. Yeah, finally got a victory. Alright, so now that we're at that point, now that I explained what a receipt is to the best of I can, now AJ and Raja, they're like backstage. Now they're gonna go into the ring, like the ring area, where the wrestling's gonna be taking place, so you can take a seat. Now, before he gets there completely, AJ is telling him again, get your receipt. You know what a receipt is. So, okay. Raja agrees. He's like, yeah, I know what a receipt is. Now, to be honest, I don't think he did. Ideally, like, receipt, again, you don't go overboard. You just, give him a stiff arm, or, just do like, let the person know, like, hey, next time it's gonna get serious type ordeal. Just, just a good hit, so they can remember not to do that shit again. So now, let's change the spider. Alright, so now now that that's been, coordinated from AJ to Raja, like how they're gonna go about it. Now, Raja takes a seat and stuff like that. His coach is there with him. They're still live streaming, Now, this is the part where it starts to get dangerous. Basically, premeditation for a murder that's about to occur, which pretty much looked like it was happening. So, he gets a call from his father while, sitting there. And his father was like telling him, like, hey, what happened? Should he send, a few of his people to go and, just press them and stuff like that. And he's like, no, it's all good. And then Rampage proceeds to just call him, like, names and, call him a bitch and other stuff. And just, some outlandish shit. So, Raj is like, whatever. And then, as the night goes on, the wrestling matches are going, he starts getting egged on by his own chat. His own kick chat was just pressing him. They're telling him, oh, you need to get your get back, and all this craziness. I'm gonna try somebody else. Let's go with Kamaru Usman. Gilbert Burns. Let's go with Gilbert. So, now that that's the chat's just egging him on. They're just telling him, like, he needs, like, he's a bitch and all this stuff, and they're just making a mockery of him. Now, he's starting to feel very, very, angry and stuff like that, and
are you ready?
So Raja's like responding, and then Raja starts saying when he gets in the ring, he's really gonna do some damage to Psycho Stu. Like, he's not gonna like hold back, and they're gonna fight and stuff like that. And he's actually gonna hit him. So that kind of was like, oh, this is not good. Okay, let's go. Ooh. So Raja proceeds to say, like, oh, should I pick him up and slam him? And then let him get back up and hit him, and like 50 subs if they want him to just slam him, and all this stuff that's being said. But as it's like he's saying this, he's starting to get angry, visibly angry. His voice is changing, and again, he's just very frustrated. he's his own chat's just egging him on, man. They're just like antagonizing him, like do something about it, be a man type. And so now that's going into Raj's head, and I do want to mention something else that happened. Hold on, I need to change this setting real quick. Audio is still. Let's go down a little more lower. But yes. Now okay, let's go back out. Ooh. So now, with that being said, before that event took place a couple of days ago, like from that moment, like maybe 3 days ago or something like that, Raja was sparring somebody and they gave him like a pretty crazy, gnarly, just a really crazy high roundhouse kick to the face, and like that, kind of like that, and it looked like it wobbled him, it rocked him. There you go, like that. And it looked like he was fucked up from it. Mind my language. And then from there, he just basically he does get his revenge on the sparring partner. He picks him up, slams him, and he hits him and all this. So it's like, oh, okay. And sometimes that happens in mixed martial arts. Sometimes your own sparring partner, you gotta have to like coordinate with one another. Be like, hey, we're gonna only do 20%, 30%, and sometimes 50%. But you don't go all out. You don't start body slamming someone into the ground. You don't power bomb them and stuff like that because that's dangerous. Dana White ain't there to like witness everything you're doing. You guys are just sharpening your tools at a mixed martial arts gym and stuff like that. Whether it's like just straight striking or grappling, you just don't go overboard. You know what I mean? So after that, I was kind of like, oh, this is kind of strange. That he started to get angry in that moment with his sparring partner, but he got his revenge and all as well, I guess. And apparently he had a concussion for after that. Now we go back into the wrestling event. Now this is where I'm kind of like, all right, so he shouldn't be doing anything, really.
Are you ready?
And I think this is the part where I feel like the Psycho Zeus, hitting him over the head with the beer can, the prop beer can. I think that must have been like one of the breaking points. Like, he was already hurt, he was already concussed, so getting hit like that too, even if it was just small or anything, not too heavy-handed, it still was something, And Raja was again recovering from a concussion. Now, going back to his chat, just egging him on. I believe some of them are kind of referring to that moment, like, you're being bitched and stuff like that. You're just, you're just being shown that you just can't handle your stuff. But it's a much more, volatile, way on his chat through Kick. Sometimes the chats through IRL streams are toxic as hell, Oh yeah, I seen your chat. My bad. Play WWE. I do, but I kind of wanted to play UFC today. Sorry, Sonya. But yeah, I just saw your chat. But anyways. Ooh. Ah. Oh, nope. Get back. So now we get to the point of the night where, alright, it's about to be time, It's gonna be time for Raja to go in the ring and get his receipt. Now, I guess they coordinated like what kind of music is gonna be playing and stuff like that. Now, Raja already pent up with anger, and frustration, maybe everything that's been happening in his life as of late, things are not going the way as planned. You know, him 0-1 in MMA, getting almost close to getting knocked out while sparring, and live in front of like his own chat. He almost got knocked out. And then this situation where Stu hit him with a beer can. So obviously there's so many things that probably just, contribute to this situation. Now we are here. Raja pretty much goes into the ring. Now he picks up Psycho Stu. And apparently he was supposed to double leg him, but he just single leg, it was like picks him up. And now he decides to slam him into the ground. Now when he slams him, it's the most aggressive like body slam I've seen in a while. Stu definitely hit his head on that canvas, and now with that, ooh, come on. He's like, it looks like he's knocked out cold. And then Raja proceeds to hit him with straight up closed fists. And they're hooks. And, he's mounted on top of him, throwing these haymakers of punches just straight up to his face, man unconscious, and stuff like that. And maybe at one point, maybe he was still, Psycho Stu was still like conscious and just awake, but once you saw the first strike, it was game over. Then the other strikes started to come down, and it was more than like possibly 20 to 22 punches that were just straight up going to this man's face while he was on the ground, and referee did not stop it. There was a guy trying to stop it, but that dude, like, he was getting overpowered. He didn't know what to do. So eventually another wrestler gets in the mix, and he tries to, stop this. And now he got Raja off of him, and Raja tries to double leg take down this guy. Now, I want people to know the wrestler that was stopping this, he already wrestled beforehand, and also from what it's told, from other videos that just came out, that I think he did some he knows how to do like real fighting or something. Like I think he did boxing or mixed martial arts, so he understands when something's real, like something's going down. So with that being said, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get this guy, trying to get a victory here. Come on. Ooh. Damn it. I want to get a... Ooh, nope. Oh! Never mind. Alright, so now the other wrestlers basically, trying to take him off. Raja's trying to double leg takedown, but this guy sprawls on top of him, and then eventually gets him back up, and Raj is trying to like drop levels, try to switch over, and try to like, it looks like he wants to like, just like take his back and like slam him or something, but eventually other wrestlers finally get in the ring and stop this, try to stop this. They hold him, and then eventually Raja he punches the wrestler that was stopping it, the first wrestler, right, that was stopping it, actually, like making a difference and stopping him. Gets hit in the eye, he's bleeding, and then he gets headbutt. So I think the guy like headbutts Raja, and then somebody bites Raja, and then eventually they stop. But now the most disgusting thing about this whole situation is that eventually someone decided to pin Psycho Stu when he's down, and it's like, whoa, why the hell are you doing that? The wrestling match is over. It's no longer like, a match. It's not, it's a dangerous situation that's just occurred. Like, dude, what are you doing? So eventually they stopped a wrestler that was pretty much kind of handling Raja. And I'm not gonna lie, Raja was not doing too good. Like, he definitely, his double leg sucked, man. Like, it was not great. So yeah, even though the wrestler already wrestled, you know, he still handled his own, and Raja was just something else of a person, just basically just weak at that point. So now that that's pretty much over with, Raja decides to leave the location. Raja's with his coach, and he's like, let's go." And then somebody outside, like a bum or something, decides to, like, antagonize Raja. And then Raja says that someone bit him, and then he was sick and tired of people playing with his name. People think he's a bitch and all this, and definitely there was some pent up rage. He must have blacked out at that point. Blindly just hitting this man over repeatedly while he was on the ground. It's like a stew on the ground, just taking all these hits to the face, to the head. It's just dangerous. Let's go with Matt Hughes. Actually, no. Hold on. Let's go here. Speaking of the man, Rampage. Let's go Jamal Hill. So now that this has happened, Raj is leaving, angry as hell, pent up rage, antagonized by his own chat. Everything that's been happening in his life up to that point, he released on this dude, on his face, like straight up, like hitting him, and it was just barbaric, man. It was just like, damn, like attempted murder for sure. Like, you were not getting out of this. So pretty much with that, I guess AJ calls him a little later through the stream. He's still streaming this, and tells him you were supposed to double leg him, and you went too far. Now they can't wake him up. He's unresponsive. And Raja, the only thing he says is, "My bad." Really? My bad? Like, no, that's crazy. So this is Rampage right here. Pow. So he's got power, my dude. Imagine his son. So, yeah, no, after that, some videos were circulating that, pretty much Rampage responded to this, pretty much in a tweet or something, or, well, X post. He pretty much says that, his son was concussed, and, the guy that hit him with the beer can should have never done that. He's an MMA fighter, not a wrestler. So, pretty much, he is sorry about the situation that took place, and, wishes Stu, like, a speedy recovery type stuff. But, yeah, no, and then, now, after all this, Stu was, like, stretchered out. He was choking on his own blood and teeth, which is crazy to hear. Sorry, I'm just trying to win. I'm using all my stamina here. But yes, so he got stretchered out. Now with this situation now just over with, now we go into the next couple of days, post Rampage, saying sorry and all that on behalf of his son. A video comes out with the wrestler who was stopping this. So apparently there was more to the story that, meets the eye here. Supposedly, the guy, AJ, had issues with Stu. Turns out that, I don't know if it's true, it's speculated that AJ had issues with Stu, and I guess in a way he saw an opportunity. So basically, supposedly, he egged on, Raja to basically do this dirty work, to actually hurt him. So I don't know what happened there. I don't know if it's true or not. But Psycho Stu and this guy named AJ with the cowboy hat. I should say he was he was the guy with the cowboy hat in the videos. Have you seen them? And yeah, this dude basically, the guy who pulled Raja off of Psycho Stu. I should probably try to find his name, but so this guy basically just stops the situation. I mean, he's pretty much just saying that AJ is basically, an accessory to this whole thing. He's the one who set this up. Now, with that being said, sorry. I'm choosing the fighter right now. Let's get Rampage again. Yeah, let's use my character. Let's go against him. Alright, so now that there's, premeditation, obviously that's being, this guy said, and basically the wrestler, let me look up his name. Because he deserves, to be named. He's kind of like held a hero for stopping Raja from doing more damage.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Fight! Let's get busy!
Okay, so I'm looking up the guy's name. I think his name is Douglas Mallow. Ooh, hold on. My bad. Next Pro Wrestling. That's the academy, the location that this all took place. So, let me see. I'm trying to see what the heck is his name. Okay, so yeah, the wrestler, his name is Douglas the Epic Mallow. So Douglas basically is explaining that AJ had something to do with this. In a way, he also premeditated this. So he basically brought someone that shouldn't have not been there backstage and all this. And they feel that he saw an opportunity, egged them on. Chat was egging them on, so it was the perfect catalyst to what transpired. And then, with that being, when that event took place, AJ was nowhere to be seen because at one point AJ did tell him when he was explaining to him that to get his receipt and all this. AJ was like, "Yo, if anyone has a problem with it, I'll go in the ring myself." He was not present. He was nowhere to be seen. I feel like he set Raja up in a way, and a lot of people think that. And Douglas, the Epic Malo wrestler, thinks that too, and that's what led to him talking about AJ. He's just a spineless bastard that orchestrated this. Now it's a bit I don't think that I think AJ took advantage of that situation. I don't think he orchestrated it. I don't think he even thought of that, to be honest. But nevertheless, this all took place. Now, Douglas and a few other people that were in that video explaining the situation said that the Knox Pro Wrestling, academy pretty much was like, don't talk to the police. If police is trying to talk to you, just pretty much just don't say nothing. Stay quiet. And there were some screenshots that were being shown, and it looks like some people agreed and said, "Yes, sir. No one's gonna talk to the cops." Which is again like you guys are not like gang members. You guys are not uh, an organized crime syndicate. You know what I mean? You are wrestlers. You seen what transpired. You are witnesses in a crime, which if police comes to you and they want your statement, they want you to recollect what happened, explain what happened to them in detail. You need to comply with the officers. You need to say what happened. But apparently some people are basically not going to talk to the cops about it. So I don't know what's going on there. Definitely not um, the brightest moment for them. But then I believe because of that text being shown, the screenshot being shown everywhere, WWE decided to cut ties with Knox Pro Wrestling. The academy is like no longer listed on their site, the WWE site. They are no longer affiliated with one another, and they caused it. I believe it was because of screenshots that were shown and people saying, "Yeah, we're not going to talk to cops." You guys caused it yourself, and I think Rikishi is going to get so much blame, so much heat for this, which he does not deserve. Rikishi does not deserve any of that. He was not present when this happened. Now, I want to believe that he did not, he was the one that said, I hope he wasn't the one that said, don't talk to the cops. I hope that he didn't have a hand in that because it would be devastating. Alright, give me a moment. Hold on. I'm not sure what's going on. Hello? 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 Okay, I think we're back. Alright. So what am I saying here? Okay, so sorry about that, some technical difficulties. Audio probably got a little higher. I do apologize if it's a little louder now. Okay. So I was saying that I just hope that Rikishi was, not involved. So, yeah, now that we have that, there was now a video about, just the ramifications of what's going on. So AJ, the wrestler that was, Raja's friend, involved in this situation, that supposedly premeditated the whole thing, I guess. Pretty much made a video saying because of that whole situation, his job basically fired him and said that he's an accessory to murder and all this craziness. Now, the other guy that was like, the other guys that were present, right? AJ kind of like, I think, shifts the blame in a way to the one guy that tells Raja that he could fuck him up and all this, get his lick back. Now AJ is kind of pushing the blame on him. So pretty much at that point, it's like, all right. Yeah. So this guy AJ is saying that he did not plan any of that. That was not his fault. It was Raja. He went off, off the rails on his own accord. So again, we don't know what's true right now. Like if it was, but the one thing that is, for sure true is the premeditation from Raja. Raja was the one that, did this. So he should take all. He does deserve blame. So with that being said, yeah, they need to arrest him, and he still hasn't been arrested yet as of right now. But if they do arrest him, so then at that point they should just basically, just go for justice. You know what I mean? And see what the justice system, decides. Hold on. It's unfortunate, and again, Raja, I thought he was a calm, collected dude throughout the live streams and stuff. It's just he had so much pent up anger, frustration. I think he just really needed to talk to somebody. That's a perfect example of basically someone getting one of the best opportunities to ruin his own life. And it's just awful all around. And Rampage is also another person that's dealing with the ramification. He's getting death threats. He's being said that he's a bad father, but it's just, it sucks all around, man. And then some wrestlers are are defending Raja for what he did, and other people are just like, this is wrong, and it's just a mixed bag right now, and it's unfortunate. But who knows what's gonna happen, what's gonna come out of this. Only time will tell, and yeah, I wish Segway a speedy recovery for sure, and the people involved in this, they have to face justice, and it is pretty much what it is. You guys kind of dug your own grave here, and Raja, just damn it, man. I wish you had more self-respect and self-discipline, not listen to your chat, and unfortunately it's kind of over. The worst that can happen is you could get 10 years in prison for sure.
Stop. It's over.
Damn. My own character's done. Rampage. But yeah, Rampage, I feel bad for you, man. I feel bad for everything that's happening in that, situation. Raja was he seemed like a cool dude. A vegan, and he just seemed like he was calm and collected. But just, it wasn't that in that moment. He went the other way. So that's pretty much all I gotta say to that, and yeah, it's just devastating.
You ready? Fight.
Alright, well, I think I'm gonna end this video. Pretty much I wanted to say everything I had on pretty much my take on this situation. And again, this video kinda is alluding to the fact that I will eventually do podcasting. I wanna do podcasting, give my commentary on certain things, and not just mixed martial arts and stuff. I do want to give my reviews on movies and other stuff. So there's a lot of things that I'm thinking of. You know what I mean? This channel's gonna definitely change. I'm still gonna open up Pokemon cards and stuff like that, and yeah. So we'll see what happens. I don't know if I'm gonna continue doing the gameplay and talking for the podcast thing. Because I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of distracted when I can't focus on the game and talking at the same time, because then I kind of stop, and then I'm on autopilot when I'm playing the game. Oh dang, nice. All right, well, yeah, I think we're gonna end it here. I think I said everything that I needed to say. Situation's awful. Douglas Malo, he's definitely a hero in that situation. Raj, again, we're gonna see what happens to him, man. You know, the court system has to take its course, and for sure. Uh, Psycho Stu, speedy recovery. I know his life is altered. It's not gonna be the same. It's so unfortunate, but yeah. And Rampage, I don't know. I hope he just, you know, doesn't lose himself because of the situation his son got himself into. Yeah, and Rakishi, I hope he doesn't get all the blame either. Now AJ, I don't know. He's very iffy. So we're gonna see what happens to him. You know, he's probably gonna get accessory. I don't accessory to this attempted murder, like for sure. I don't know, man. It's just so difficult. Anyways, with that being said, thank you for tuning in. Um, whether you are watching this on the live stream on Twitch, this video is gonna go up on YouTube. So also want to let people know video and audio quality might be a little strange, but that's how it is for now. Eventually I'm gonna get an Elgato. We're gonna get things going. Um, do some more gameplays and hopefully get my podcasting going too with my friend. And you know, again, all the feedback you guys want to give me for this video, to be more exact. But regardless, I'm still gonna do this. I'm still new to this. This is like a hobby, and hopefully it could be a career later on in life. And I don't know. I gotta do some more videos, do more things. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in. Like and subscribe. Follow on Twitch, YouTube, and all that. And yeah. With that being said, thank you for watching. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you're at in the world and whatever time you're watching this video. Alright, with that being said, peace.